is a man that would risk his neck for his brother, man.
Chef!
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Isn't it, Chris Arps, how are you?
I'm good.
Isn't that amazing?
It is, and like you were saying, they're not all sexual harassment, but that is a whole lot of money. A lot of money. You know, you stole my thunder when I was coming down here.
I stole your thunder?
You stole my thunder.
How did I do that?
Because I was wondering, you know, the MO of these guys seems to be you ask a young lady over to your house under the pretense of work.
And then you take a shower?
You all of a sudden need to take a shower, and then you come back with a opened bathrobe. And I'm like, what woman would think a 75-year-old man and Harvey Weinstein would look sexy in an open bathrobe is...
No,
I'm
and for
trying
them to
figure
even,
that one
I don't
out.
now to Weinstein's credit, I don't remember him claiming that he thought it was consensual. If to me, it was a little ridiculous for Charlie to suggest that he thought it was consensual.
I'm gonna look up Harvey's statement because I think he said something kind of similar to that. If feelings were misconstrued, I apologize, even though I'm a scumbag.
Here's what I think it gets down to. Honestly, I believe this. I think that a lot of these folks, and I know a lot of people in Congress, I'm not naming names, but I've worked around similar people in the media industry, and I've worked around a lot of congressmen and senators through the years. I think there's a narcissism involved in that position, and I think a lot of them have a certain degree of power, and they have a certain image of themselves, and I'm not defending what they've done here. My point is, they probably really believe in their own minds that they're attractive enough to whoever they want that they should be able to do whatever they want and get away
Well, I'm
with.
going to tell you this, and I'm not saying this is from personal experience, but this is something I learned very early on when I got involved in politics. Just like in Hollywood, there are groupies that are into men that are powerful and that are actors and all that. It's the same way in politics. There are female groupies, and I'm not saying that they brought this stuff on themselves. That's my phone. But
Okay.
a lot of that stuff, I think they kind of encourage it in a certain sense. I mean, I could give you all kind of stories up there, especially at our Lincoln Day celebration, some stories that happened. And
Yeah. No, I understand.
Unbelievable.
And Liz and I had part of this conversation earlier, and we discussed whether or not we could play the audio on the air, and we determined that it was too profanity-laced to do so. But what was the name of that movie? Horrible Bosses?
Horrible Bosses.
Horrible Bosses. She's describing this where one of the guys, his boss happened to be Jennifer Aniston, was the actress that played the boss. Okay. And he's bothered by how she treats him, and then he goes out for a beer with his two buddies who look at each other and say, Have you looked at your boss lately? Like, are you bothered by this?
What is the problem?
So I guess the point I'm making there is we haven't seen any men come forward yet unless it's an allegation against somebody like Kevin Spacey. I guess we haven't seen that coming from the other side of the equation,
I think the
gender-wise at all.
women in power are a lot smarter than that, unless they're school teachers. Then they,
unless they're 23-year-old blonde, good-looking school teachers, and then the rules don't. Yeah, the rules don't seem to affect them. Here's a point that I want to make on this, and this thing's going to get uglier before it gets better.
It is.
You know it is.
Oh,
It's coming. The floodgates have now opened on Congress. They had already opened up on Hollywood. Yeah. Now maybe it's going to open up on the media a little more because you already had O'Reilly, who they targeted a while back. There have been other allegations at Fox, but now it's hit the mainstream media with Charlie Rose. Listen to the point Lisa Booth made this morning on Fox's Outnumbered program, and I don't think this can be pointed out enough.
I also think we need to celebrate good men in this country as well. And you have people like Vice President Mike Pence, who was ridiculed for saying that he won't go out to dinner alone with a woman out of respect for his wife. That's an agreement that him and his wife share together, and he was ridiculed for it. But we should be celebrating good men that love and respect their wife. And while that might not be for every marriage, we should respect those men that love and respect their own wives.
Yeah, this is a microcosm, I believe. Now, primarily because it's only a small percentage of people that find themselves in a position to exert that kind of influence out of the whole population. And what you've got is some of these hosts that are going on national television and kind of making blanket accusations that this is a wake-up call for all men. Right. And I just don't think that's true. I don't experience that here on daily basis at all where I see men acting inappropriately toward women, and I can think back over my television career. I just don't remember that. Now, that doesn't mean that it wasn't an environment where people didn't crack jokes, right, and maybe occasionally a joke that was a little off color or inappropriate or whatever the case may be. But there's a difference between that and exerting your influence over someone to take advantage of them.
And that's what I was just about to say. You don't expect someone from 25 years ago from Camo V to say Mark Cox harassed me. I don't expect someone to come from my past saying that I sexually harassed them. Look, when a former president of the United States who has a stellar reputation, who everyone loves, can be accused of sexual harassment, and I'm talking about George H.W. Bush, anyone can be is going to be accused, I believe.
Yeah.
He's the last person in the world you would ever think, to me, that would be groping some woman's
behind. I couldn't agree more. But, the more was not a pun. The thing about Al Franken is that they seem to act like, well, he shouldn't have done that to that lady when he was posing in the picture. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't in the Senate yet. And then an allegation comes out that happened when he was in the Senate. And this is where it starts to get interesting, because there seems to be an effort on the left to give a pass to people based on their political persuasion. And that's kind of what we're seeing here.
And you look at it, too. Franken wasn't in the Senate yet, but people want to do a Senate investigation.
How do you investigate something prior to him being elected?
Well, it's the same thing that's going on with Judge Moore. You have Gloria Allred, the attorney for one of the accusers, is saying, we will release the yearbook and let you have one of your forensic people look at it if you will testify under oath to a Senate committee, even though he's not elected to anything. So it's kind of the same thing.
Judge Moore, I'm glad you brought that up. You sent me an interesting text on that yesterday when we were talking about it, and I want to talk to you about that. Chris, hang around. We're going to get more with Chris Arps here in just a minute. 314-969-9797. We're going to get to more of your phone calls on this Tuesday coming up.